Hello, this is Mr. M, the man who's doing the Free Richard H campaign. Now, today is episode 14. We continue with what to do in your spare time in Saudi Arabia. Remember, if you write into us, it's at kabsa.anzi@gmail.com. I'll be showing this again, I think, later today. Now, today we'll be talking, as I said, continuing about what to do in your spare time in Saudi. Now, the reason that I've got these signs, they say work for food in English and Arabic and Free Richard again in Saudi. This is dedicated again, the music is dedicated to the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, not for not helping us much, and that's why I'm saying this is the British and Commonwealth Office, or their embassy, Riyadh. Gives a job. Now, for Richard, because Richard has been relying on the largesse of his friends, because he's been out of work many months now. He's not profligate with his money, but he has mortgage to pay and many other things, family to support. Right, so we'll go straight into this now, episode 14. So, some people have asked me questions on our site. One is the length of contracts. Well, contracts that I've known about have been 1 year or 2 year. There may be longer contracts, and of course read them very carefully and try to scrutinize them outside of your country. Again, this song is, if Richard isn't always on your mind, from the British and Foreign and Commonwealth Office. Also, employers delay in paying you. As I said earlier about my time in other Arab countries and in Saudi, I was only not paid in Saudi once, but I wasn't paid for 3 months, and it was a little distressing because we come out of a stressful job, and the last thing we bloody well needed was not to be paid. And some of our people went and traced to wherever the employment tribunal in Saudi, and eventually we all got paid. But yeah, they traped across the country. But many of your employers don't give a damn once they've got you there. Okay, what can you do in your spare time? Well, a lot of people do, like they do in Britain or America or other places, I'm sure. They go onto social media, watch videos, educational and otherwise. But a number of colleagues of mine, the younger ones, have done online learning, mainly from British universities, although they've come from the States, Canada, etc. It seems that Britain pioneered a lot of this stuff. The verdict for me on online education is, well, I'm an old man, so I have my comments on it, but they've got advanced degrees, masters, etc., some of which they have to do some residence in the UK in the summer. I think it's a month or so. I don't know a lot about it, but you can find out all about that. Another thing that people do is they prepare their travel plans in their spare time, because if they get a month off every year or 2 months, they prepare in their own country what they're going to do, visit family, go on holiday. And then what they also do then, many people, because the Middle East is actually a great center for either traveling in Europe or traveling in the Far East, is that they go to countries in the Far East. They also can go to some what I consider interesting locations in the Middle East, which I would consider as holidays. Oman and Jordan, where I've worked as well. Now back to the Free Richard H campaign. Some people have said to me, why, who are you mad at? Well, I'm certainly not mad at Saudi Arabia. It has nothing to do with Saudi. Only Saudi is the situation he's in. My being mad for Richard is that the Foreign and Commonwealth Office haven't advised him. It's catch up on so many things. And especially when you see how Britain believes they're connected, in brackets, in this region. A bit of the big I am. Okay, they've obviously forgot Suez. Okay, so here we go. For example, let me talk about some of the situations where people like Richard are in a situation. He's not the only one. There have been people over the years who've been held in Saudi. Richard's detained. He cannot leave the country. He is not a free man, but he's not in custody in a jail. So it's sort of a gray area. And since law is an interest of mine, I'll go into that in the next video a little bit more. But what I want to really do in the next video is I'm going to talk about Britain's involvement in Saudi Arabia, because if they have this so-called influence, then if they have an embassy there, they believe they're the next impactful power after America. I would dispute that heavily from the way they engage with their nationals. In terms of trade and that other things, they may be, but they certainly don't project it in terms of assisting Joe Soap. Maybe if Meghan and Harry went there, I don't know. They're in Los Angeles, I think, at the moment. But Richard's just basically a Joe Soap, but he's not the only Joe Soap. And as Richard and I have discussed, this issue is bigger than me or him or anything else. It's about other British nationals that may go to Saudi, and it's just to keep reinforcing to them that, buyer beware. You go there, your embassy isn't going to help unless you're well connected. Now, well connected in the Middle East means wasta, that means influence, which can help you in so many things. So maybe if you're a high-ranking British expat and you have wasta with the British embassy or with some Saudis, fine. But if you're Joe Soap, no hope. No hope for Joe Soap. So that's what I'll do. Now, hopefully, there's more of you watching every day. Some of you have said, am I concerned about this? No, I won't be going to Saudi ever again, so I'm not worried. But after producing what I consider these innocuous videos, yes, I could easily be done for some sort of anti-government protest. Isn't this pathetic? That's the way it is. Okay, so I'll leave you now at the end of episode 14. But again, write to me, as you have been doing, at cabsa.amzi@gmail.com for any questions you have about Richard's case, which I send out a timeline now, and also any specific questions about Saudi. Thank you for those 2 questions I had from different viewers. So that's the end of episode 14. Thank you.